Okay, now let us start. All right. Now, Mr. Ghulam, did you call the attention of the minister? You say?
Pardon?
You have to call the attention of the minister so that minister can.
Yes, yes.
Okay, then minister. Just call the attention, that's all.
No,
Okay, on this issue. Okay, now.
Deputy
Minister.
Chairman, sir. Under Section 20A of the Representation of People Act 1950 and the rules made thereunder, the conduct of elections rules 1961 envisages the non-resident Indians can register themselves in the electoral roll of their constituency and exercise their franchise on production of original passport in person at the time of voting at the specified polling booths. As far as this matter is concerned, I will not go in detail. There was a writ petition by a public interest litigation was filed before the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court, as per the directions of the Supreme Court, the Election Commission has constituted a committee under which to examine all the facilities available for voting of non-residential Indians under the Representation of People Act 1950 and Representation of Peoples Act 1951, with a view to mitigating the difficulties being faced by them in exercising their adult franchise and to make alternative options of voting by NRIs. After in-depth study of the existing provisions, the various options available, the committee has recommended the following two additional options for the purpose of voting by NRIs. That is, one, e-postal ballot system, and there is proxy voting. In e-postal ballot system, this system envisages the electronic transmission of blank ballot paper to the NRIs and thereafter return the same by normal post. At present, the two-way postal ballot system is available in certain special categories of voters, such as armed forces personnel, personals on election duty, etc. But it is not available for the NRIs. Proxy voting, this is also the committee went in detail and they submitted a note on this. This would allow the NRI voters to appoint a proxy voter after following certain formalities to exercise the franchise through the medium of proxy without himself physically being present. At present, proxy voting, that facility is available to the armed forces only. The above recommendations of the committee were placed before the Honorable Supreme Court, and it was submitted to the court that the government proposes to accept these recommendations subject to examination and consideration by the government. In the hearing held on 13th April 2015, the Honorable Court has granted 8 weeks time for the purpose of for this purpose from the said date. The above recommendations of the committee were considered in the legislative department, and a view was taken to implement the same so as to further enhance the existing provisions to enable the NRI voters to exercise their franchise without having to be physically present in the polling booth. Accordingly, a draft cabinet note has been prepared and interministerial consultations have also completed for amending Section 60 of the Representation of Peoples Act 1951. It is proposed to place the matter before the cabinet shortly to enable the overseas voters to exercise their franchise either in person or by postal ballot or by proxy. It is proposed to lay down the manner and the procedure for implementation of the e-postal ballot system and proxy voting by amending the relevant provisions of the conduct of election rules 1961. At present, the facility of proxy voting is available to armed personnel under Section A of Section 60 of the Representation Peoples Act. A proxy is appointed after following the procedures laid down in Rule 27M and 27Q of the Conduct of Election Rules 1961. After passing the proposed draft bill, thereby the amending the Representation of People Act 1951, providing for additional options by voting by the overseas electors, the necessary consequential changes also be made in Conduct of Elections Rules 1951 in consultation with the Election Commission. The Election Commission would work out the modalities and administrative as well as the technical nature of the process of providing the facility of e-postal ballot to NRI, and they would be requested to suggest necessary modifications in the conduct of election rules 1951 so as to incorporate e-postal ballot as well as proxy voting facilities to NRI. So all these procedures have been already undertaken. We had the draft cabinet note also. It was interministerial consultations also taken place, and we are bringing it before the cabinet as early as possible, so that NRIs will get all the benefits of either e-voting, e-postal ballot system or proxy voting.
Thank you. Ghulam Nabi Azad.
माननीय डिप्टी चेयरमैन साहब, सर ये NRIs को वोटिंग देने का जहां तक राइट है, ये बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण विषय है और बल्कि अगर मैं कहूंगा राष्ट्रीय अंतर्राष्ट्रीय लेवल पर एक बहुत बड़ा कदम है। सबसे पहले मैं ये बताना चाहता हूं इस सदन को कि हमारी पार्टी NRIs को राइट टू वोट के हक में है, हम इसके खिलाफ नहीं। हमने हमेशा आजादी के बाद से लेकर आज तक और आजादी से पहले भी महात्मा गांधी से लेकर पंडित जवाहरलाल नेहरू से लेकर आज तक हमारी पार्टी ने हमेशा वोट देने के हक में काम किया है। बल्कि स्वतंत्रता के बाद सबसे पहला जो काम हुआ, इस देश के हर एक नागरिक को, चाहे उसका धर्म, जाति कुछ भी हो, प्रांत भी कुछ भी हो, उसको वोट देने का हक दिया। और राजीव गांधी जी ने इस परंपरा को आगे चलाया, पंचायत तक वोटिंग देने का हक दिया और रिजर्वेशन हमारी बहनों के लिए, माओं के लिए, बहु बेटियों के लिए रखी। तो हमेशा हम वोट के हक में हैं। जहां NRIs का सवाल है उसके संबंध में भी हम हमेशा हक में रहे हैं। यूपीए सरकार में श्रीमती सोनिया गांधी जी के नेतृत्व में भी हमारी पार्टी, हमारी गवर्नमेंट इसके हक में रही। उस वक्त के हमारे यूपीए के प्रधानमंत्री डॉक्टर मनमोहन सिंह जी ने प्रवास भारती दिवस, जो 10वीं प्रवास भारती दिवस था जयपुर में 9 जनवरी 2012 को, उसमें भी अपने भाषण में कहा कि NRIs को राइट टू वोट होना चाहिए। बल्कि उन्होंने पेंशन फंड फॉर ओवरसीज वर्कर्स की भी बात की। तो ये कोई नई बात नहीं। हमारे प्रधानमंत्री उस वक्त के, उन्होंने 2012 में NRIs को ये विश्वास दिलाया कि हम इसमें काम कर रहे हैं। सर, NRIs हमारी सोसाइटी का एक अंग है, एक हिस्सा है। उन्होंने उन तमाम देशों में वहां की ग्रोथ और डेवलपमेंट के लिए काम किया, लेकिन उसके साथ साथ अपने मुल्क के, हिंदुस्तान के लिए जो उन्होंने काम किया है, उसके लिए पूरा भारत उनका ऋणी रहेगा और है। तकरीबन 22 से 23% फॉरेन एक्सचेंज आज भारत को हमारे NRIs जो वर्क फोर्स है उनके जरिए आती है। और 2014 में ही तकरीबन 70 बिलियन US डॉलर्स आया है, जो तकरीबन 3.7% ऑफ GDP है वर्ल्ड बैंक की रिपोर्ट के मुताबिक। तो इतना NRIs अपने देश के लिए, भारत के लिए और उन देशों में जहां वो काम करते हैं, इतना काम करते हैं और भारत का नाम उन्होंने हमेशा रोशन किया। वो हमारे देश के एम्बेसडर्स हैं हर जगह में, हर फैक्ट्री में, हर बिल्डिंग में, जहां भी वो काम करते हैं। लेकिन यहां प्रश्न पैदा होता है, जैसे माननीय, मैं बहुत सारे चीजें यहां कहना चाहता था, लेकिन वो माननीय लॉ मिनिस्टर ने खुद बता दी कि इलेक्शन कमीशन ने लॉ मिनिस्ट्री को, गवर्नमेंट को ये भेजा कि वो NRIs को वोटिंग राइट देना चाहते हैं। गवर्नमेंट ने उसको मंजूर किया और गवर्नमेंट ने अभी ये भी बताया कि सभी मिनिस्ट्रीज से कंसल्टेशन हो रही है। ये भी बताया कि कैबिनेट के सामने ये नोट किसी वक्त भी आ सकता। जहां हम NRIs की वोट में, के हक में है, और जैसे मैंने कहा कि हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी ने तो 2012 में ही शुरू किया, और उसके बाद जो कंसल्टेशन प्रोसेस हमने शुरू करना, मुझे अफसोस है कि इतना महत्वपूर्ण सब्जेक्ट, इतना हिस्टोरिकल सब्जेक्ट जिसको हम लागू करने के लिए हमारे वक्त में भी प्रयास कर रहे थे, लेकिन हम चाहते थे कि सभी राजनीतिक दलों से इसके साथ कंसल्टेशन हो। लेकिन आज की गवर्नमेंट ने कंसल्टेशन प्रोसेस को गुड बाय कर दिया। इलेक्शन कमीशन ने रिपोर्ट गवर्नमेंट को भेजी, गवर्नमेंट ने सुप्रीम कोर्ट को भेज दिया कि हमने मंजूर किया, और ये पार्लियामेंट और इस डेमोक्रेसी के तमाम पॉलिटिकल लीडर्स और मेंबर्स ऑफ पार्लियामेंट न्यूज़पेपर के जरिए, अखबारों के जरिए सुनते हैं कि ऐसा हो रहा है। सर, ये फैशन बन गया है इस गवर्नमेंट का ऑर्डिनेंस के जरिए चीजें लाना, पार्लियामेंट को बाईपास करना, पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज के साथ कंसल्टेशन को बाईपास करना, स्टैंडिंग कमेटीज को बाईपास करना, और फिर सदन में आना, और सदन में अगर हम आपत्ति उठाएं तो फिर यह कहना कि अपोजिशन इसके खिलाफ है, अपोजिशन कुछ, तो हमें बदनाम भी करती है। गलत काम तो खुद करती है, प्रोसीजर्स को खुद फॉलो नहीं करती है, और हमारी बदनामी होती है। सर, ये बहुत सेंसिटिव इश्यू है, इतना आसान नहीं है। आप जानते हैं कि जब ये इस तरह की वोटिंग होती है तो इसमें आजकल हैकिंग आप जानते हैं किस तरह से होती है। अभी मैं पेपर में पढ़ रहा था कि प्रेसिडेंट ओबामा का ईमेल इंटरसेप्ट हुआ और हैक हुआ, एक्सेस हुआ बाई रशियन हैकर्स। इसी तरह से यूके और यूएस और फ्रांस के लोगों ने उस तक अभी इंप्लीमेंट इंटरनेट वोटिंग नहीं की है। यूएस डिफेंस ने अभी इसको कैंसिल किया है, वो भी करना चाहते, इंटरनेट वोटिंग राइट्स देना चाहते थे अपने ओवरसीज मिलिट्री पर्सनल को, उन्होंने सिक्योरिटी रीजन पे इसको छोड़ दिया। तो हम यहां यही डिस्कस करना चाहते थे, पहले पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज में, नेशनल पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज में यहां डिस्कशन हो, बल्कि मुझे कोई आपत्ति है स्टेट लेवल पे, असली तो उन्हीं को इलेक्शन कराना है, उनको भी मुख्यमंत्री बना है, उनके साथ भी कंसल्टेशन होनी चाहिए। और इसके साथ में मैं आखिर में सबसे वो जो महत्वपूर्ण चीज है जो मैं बताना चाहता हूं, सर, हमारे कोई 1 करोड़ के करीब NRIs, लेकिन यहां तकरीबन 10-20 करोड़ हमारे देश में माइग्रेंट वर्कर्स, कोई भी स्टेट लीजिए, पंजाब से लीजिए, कश्मीर से लेके बंबई, राजस्थान से लेके हिंदुस्तान का कोई स्टेट लीजिए, वहां आपको माइग्रेंट वोट्स लाखों में, माइग्रेंट वर्कर्स लाखों में, स्किल्ड और अनस्किल्ड दोनों मिलेंगे। महाराष्ट्र, यहां चाहे महाराष्ट्र बंबई के अंदर देखिए, आप पंजाब के अंदर देखिए कि एग्रीकल्चर वर्कर तो अब सब बाहर से आता, और ये अब परंपरा पूरे हिंदुस्तान में जी गई। कश्मीर के अंदर आप देखिए तो आपको कोई वर्कर नहीं मिलेगा बिल्डिंग बनाने का, त्रिखान का, मेसन का, मजदूर का। यही तकरीबन स्थिति हिंदुस्तान के हर स्टेट में। तो ये प्रपोजल कई दफा आया कि हमारे जो करोड़ों माइग्रेंट वर्कर्स हैं देश के अंदर, उनको वोटिंग राइट देना चाहिए उसी जगह जहां वो काम करते हैं। अगर आज वो नॉर्थ का है रहने वाला तो साउथ में है, तो उसको नॉर्थ जाना पड़ेगा वोटिंग दिन के लिए, और अगर यूपी का है तो बंबई में काम करता है तो उसे वापस बनारस या जौनपुर जाना पड़ेगा वोट डालने के लिए, वरना उसके पास कोई वोट नहीं है। तो मेरा आपसे अनुरोध रहेगा गवर्नमेंट कि इलेक्शन कमीशन ने जो प्रेजेंट इलेक्शन कमिश्नर नहीं, ओवर ए पीरियड ऑफ टाइम 2-3 दफा इस प्रपोजल को रिजेक्ट किया है। भारत के अंदर एक स्टेट से दूसरे स्टेट में जो माइग्रेंट वर्कर्स है उनको वहीं वोट देने के हक से उनको वंचित रखा गया है, और इलेक्शन कमीशन ने कहा लॉजिस्टिक्स नहीं है। ये आज के जमाने में हम अमेरिका में कोई रहने वाला या ऑस्ट्रेलिया में कोई रहने वाला, किसी और कॉन्टिनेंट वाले रहने के लिए लॉजिस्टिक का प्रबंधन तो कर रहे हैं कि वो यहां वोट डाले, लेकिन जो मजदूर जो हमारे खेत में काम करता है, जो हमारी सड़कों पे काम करता है, जो हमारे मकान बनाता है, हॉस्पिटल्स बनाता है, एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूशन बनाता है, खून पसीने की कमाई करता है, उसके लिए हम कहते हैं हमारे लॉजिस्टिकल प्रॉब्लम्स हैं। इसलिए मैं केंद्रीय सरकार से निवेदन करूंगा कि सबसे पहले आप NRIs के साथ साथ जो माइग्रेंट वर्कर्स हैं उसको भी सुझाव लेके तमाम पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज की एक मीटिंग बुलाइए, चाहे 1 दिन हो 2 दिन हो, और उसमें जो तय हो जाए उसके बाद आप ये कानून बनाए। ये मेरी सरकार से निवेदन है। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Thank you. Now, honorable members, I have 10 names. The total time for discussion is 1 hour. So the members are... No, only those who have given name. Sit down. It is important you can't give name. Only those... No. I have 10 names. I have to call them first. Now, according to the rule, you have to ask question only. So because I have 10 names and only 1 hour, those who ask questions should limit in 2 hours, because minister has also to reply. So in 2 minutes, put the question. Sri Majeed Memon.
डेप्यूटी चेयरमैन जी, लोकतंत्र की सफलता के 2 मूल टेस्ट होते हैं। एक तो ये कि ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा परसेंटेज ऑफ वोट गिरा जाए ताकि लोगों की राय ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा लोकतंत्र में जानी जा सके, और दूसरा ये कि जब वोट डाले जाते हैं तो वो वोट डालने में उनकी फेयरनेस ऑफ पोलिंग बहुत ज़रूरी है कि वहाँ कोई गड़बड़ी ना हो और किसी के मत का दुरुपयोग कहीं ना हो। दोनों प्रॉक्सी वोटिंग और ई-पोस्टल बैलेट पर गुलाम नबी आज़ाद साहब ने जो बातें कही उनसे सहमति दर्शाते हुए मैं ये कहना चाहूँगा कि देश में इतनी बड़ी तादाद में लोग जो यहाँ से वहाँ काम के सिलसिले में जाते हैं, उन लोगों के मताधिकार के संबंध में चर्चा बहुत आवश्यक है। और मेरा ये मानना है व्यक्तिगत कि कम से कम 1 वर्ष अगर कोई व्यक्ति अपने देश से बाहर, अपने राज्य से बाहर, अपने वोटिंग जहाँ रजिस्ट्रेशन है उससे बाहर काम करता है, तो वो जहाँ काम करता है वहाँ उसकी रजिस्ट्री होनी चाहिए और उसको अपना मताधिकार मिलना चाहिए। चाहे 1 वर्ष की सीमा उसमें रखी जाए, क्योंकि अगर सिर्फ 4 दिन या 8 दिन के लिए कोई आदमी जाता है तो वो वोट डालने के लिए ही जाए तो उसमें बड़ी गड़बड़ी होने के अंदेशे हैं। तो मेरी विनंती है, मैं हमारे नेता प्रतिपक्ष के LOP के जो विचार हैं उनको सहमति दर्शाते हुए कहूँगा कि सरकार को चाहिए कि CEC चीफ इलेक्शन कमीशन के साथ, इलेक्शन कमीशन के साथ पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज़ के तमाम लीडरों को बैठकर इन मुद्दों पर चर्चा करनी चाहिए। और लोकतंत्र की सफलता में जो हमारे लिए 2 ज़रूरी बातें हैं कि परसेंटेज ऑफ वोटिंग बढ़ाया जाए और फेयरनेस ऑफ इलेक्शन should become more and more visible. Thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you very much. Thank you. Sri D. Raja.
Sir, India as a democratic republic started its journey with having universal adult franchise. And we are proud that India is one of the countries which gave the right to vote to all adult citizens, including women at the beginning itself, unlike other countries, even in Europe. Sir, India's democracy is considered to be the most largest representative democracy. It is emerging, and it should emerge genuinely as a participatory democracy. All citizens, Indian citizens, should have the right to vote and should have the possibility and arrangement to exercise their voting right. And as a matter of principle, we agree the NRIs must have voting right and they must have the facility to cast their vote. At the same time, the migrant laborers, as LOP has pointed out, within the country should also have the arrangement made by the government wherever they are to cast their vote. Sir, when I say this, the proxy vote or e-postal vote, they are risky proposals and there are problems. Proxy is proxy and right to vote is a conscience, and it is a conscience vote, it is a secret vote. And what do you mean by proxy vote? That has to be discussed. And e-postal vote also is having its own risk. And there are practices in with several countries. The countries, even in India, there are many embassies. The people working in embassies from outside other countries, at the time of elections in their respective countries, they go and cast their vote in their respective embassies, or embassies make arrangements for them to cast their vote. Whether Government of India is thinking of doing such arrangement for NRIs, whether Government of India thinking. And what about the migrant laborers within the country? How do you allow them to exercise their right to vote? My third question, whether the government is thinking to call an all-party meeting to discuss these issues threadbare so that a consensus emerges and government can take a very rational, reasonable position.
Okay.
Sir, the court has given 8 weeks time. Now some 1 or 2 weeks must have gone. Now in the remaining time, whether government
Yes,
will
yes.
act with
All right.
urgency.
Okay, Sri Bhupinder Singh.
उपाध्यक्ष महोदय, ये जो आज हमारे प्रतिपक्ष के नेता गुलाम नबी आजाद जी ने ये जो कलिंग अटेंशन आज लाया, इसके लिए मैं उनको धन्यवाद देता हूं कि ये मुद्दा पिछली बार भी जब यहाँ वीसा फैसिलिटीज के लिए ऑर्डिनेंस के माध्यम से जब यहाँ चर्चा हो रही थी, तो मैंने उस वक्त भी कहा था कि एनआरआईज को वोटिंग राइट क्यों नहीं दी जाएगी, क्या कारण है क्यों नहीं दी जाएगी। तो अगर जब वोटिंग राइट देने की बात अब आ ही रही है तो सबसे चर्चा करके इसको दी जाए, जो राय उठ रही है उसके साथ मैं और भी इसके साथ सहमत ही प्रकट करता हूं। लेकिन जो बात हो रही है ई वोटिंग या प्रॉक्सी वोटिंग की, वो एक मुद्दा जो है वो एक इट इज ए बिग क्वेश्चन मार्क कि आप कैसे ई वोटिंग में बता सकते हैं कि उपाध्यक्ष महोदय जी आप ई वोटिंग दे रहे हैं, आपने ही वहां जाके वोट डाला है नेट के माध्यम से, ये इसको कौन जाहिर कर सकता है, इसका प्रमाण कौन दे सकता है। यही एक जो सवाल वहां उठता है और कई सवाल है जहां पे आज भी हमारी जो वोटिंग मशीन के ऊपर पे भी बाकी बातें चल रही हैं और नेट के इसके जो टेक्नोलॉजी जो है इसके ऊपर भी जो हैक की बात उठ रही है। तो इसलिए हम इसको लेके सभी पार्टियों का जो प्रस्ताव प्रतिपक्ष के नेता ने रखा है, यहाँ मेरे ख्याल में सभी पार्टियों से चर्चा करके ऐसी व्यवस्था की जाए। और सबसे बड़ी बात तो यह है कि हमारे उड़ीसा से आके लोग, बिहार से आके लोग, सारे देश के लोग एक प्रांत से जाके दूसरे प्रांत में अपनी रोजी रोटी के लिए जाते हैं। बीइंग एन इंडियन, इस धरती में यहाँ पैदा होते हुए भी प्रेजेंट इन द कंट्री, उनको वोटिंग राइट की बात यहाँ पे क्यों उसकी क्यों बात चर्चा नहीं हो रही है। उनको 100% वोटिंग कैसे दे सकते हैं वो, उनको वहां पे वोटर लिस्ट में वो वहां जाके बच्चे पैदा करके स्कूल में पढ़ने लग गए, उड़ीसा से जाके गुजरात में सूरत में, लेकिन उनको अभी तक वहां के में वोटर नहीं बनाया गया है, या वहां से वो उड़ीसा आ नहीं सकते, या कोई बिहार से पंजाब जाता है, पंजाब से फिर बिहार आके नहीं जा सकता, गुजरात से वहां, या वैसे गुवाहाटी से कोई आके नहीं आ सकता। तो इसीलिए ये जरूरी है कि हमारे जो वर्कर्स हैं, चाहे कोई भी है, आके सेटल्ड हुआ है तो उसको भी वहां वोटिंग राइट दी जानी चाहिए। और एक लोकतंत्र हमारा सबसे बड़ा लोकतंत्र है विश्व में, तभी हम ये प्रमाण कर सकते हैं कि हमारा श्रेष्ठ लोकतंत्र है विश्व में, जब हम सभी को वोटिंग की राइट देंगे। एनआरआईज को भी वोटिंग की राइट दी जाए, अगर वो फिजिकली यहाँ प्रेजेंट है तो उनको बिल्कुल दी जाए, और प्रॉक्सी अगर करनी है तो उसके ऊपर राय ली जाए, क्या उसका सिस्टम लिया जाना चाहिए। धन्यवाद सर।
Okay, thank you very much. Professor Ram Gopal Yadav.
में जहाँ बहुत अच्छाइयाँ हैं, वहाँ कुछ कमियाँ भी हैं, और सबसे बड़ी कमी ये है कि कई बार लोग चीप पॉपुलैरिटी के लिए कुछ ऐसे कदम उठाने की भी बात करते हैं जिनके दूरगामी परिणाम क्या होंगे उस पर उन्होंने विचार तक नहीं किया होता है। इस देश में जहाँ वोटिंग आइडेंटिटी कार्ड होने के बाद भी लोग दूसरे का वोट डाल देते हों, वहाँ बाहर आप, मैं माननीय मंत्री जी से ये सवाल करना चाहता हूँ कि आप किस तरह से ये सुनिश्चित करेंगे कि जिसको ई पोस्टल बैलेट भेजा गया है उसी ने उसको वापस भेजा है, या जो दूसरा सिस्टम प्रॉक्सी का है, प्रॉक्सी है ही, वो 100% फर्जी वोट डाले जाएंगे। तो आप वोट की, चुनाव की प्रक्रिया की सैंक्टिटी को कायम रखना है अगर, तो इस तरह के किसी भी सिस्टम से, चाहे वो ई बैलेट का मामला हो, चाहे प्रॉक्सी वोटिंग हो, इससे बचना होगा। ये कैसे दिमाग में आया, किनके दिमाग में आया, कैसे विचार में आया, मेरी समझ में नहीं आता है। हमारे यहाँ व्यवस्था ये है श्रीमान कि जिसका इलेक्टोरल रोल में, वोटर लिस्ट में नाम है, वो अपने बूथ पर वोट डालने का हकदार है, बशर्ते कि उसके पास उसका आइडेंटिटी कार्ड हो, कोई पहचान हो। वहां पर अभी आप आर्मी के लिए भेजते हैं और ऑफिसर और जो ड्यूटी पे लोग होते हैं उनके लिए भेजते हैं। आपने देखा होगा कि आर्मी से जो बैलेट पेपर आते हैं 80% उसमें इनवैलिड हो जाते हैं, क्योंकि प्रिसाइडिंग जो वहाँ का कमांडिंग अफसर है वो जब तक वेरीफाई नहीं करेगा तब तक वो बैलेट नहीं माना जाएगा। वहाँ कौन वेरीफाई करेगा? आपका एम्बेसडर। बूथ कहाँ बनाया जाएगा? बाहर। और बूथ पर प्रिसाइडिंग अफसर कौन होगा? कोई बिना विवेक का प्रयोग किए बगैर इस तरह की बातें उठाई जाती हैं। हम अपने देश में तो यहाँ से वहाँ चले जाते हैं, खेती काटने के लिए मजदूर चले जाते हैं, पंजाब उनको वोट करने का अधिकार नहीं दे पाते। हम अपने कर्मचारियों को वोट डालने का अधिकार नहीं दे पाते हैं। पुलिस के लोग ड्यूटी पे होते हैं, उनको वोट डालने का अधिकार नहीं मिल पा रहा है। आप NRIs को वोट क्यों करने की बात कर रहे हैं? ये 100% फोर्स और जो फर्जी वोटिंग की व्यवस्था का एक तरीका है, जो बहुत एलाइट वर्ग है, जो बाहर लोग रहते हैं या जिनसे लाभान्वित हो सकते हैं, केवल ऐसे लोगों के दिमाग की उपज है। इसलिए मैं इस प्रस्ताव का पूरी तरह से विरोध करता हूं।
श्री शरद यादव।
श्रीमान, जो अभी सभी 3 माननीय सदस्यों ने बोला है, कैसी हालत है। और इस दौर में तो बहुत और हालत ऐसी है कि जब हम आपका जैसे मन आ रहा है वैसे आप अपने तरीके से ऑर्डिनेंस निकाल रहे हैं, अपने तरीके से एक के बाद एक बिल ला रहे हैं। लैंड एक्विजिशन ले आए हैं आप, सिर्फ आपने अपने भीतर चर्चा की है। एक लैंड एक्विजिशन बिल लाए थे जिसमें देश भर की पार्टियों को हम सब लोगों ने मिलकर के बनाया था। अब आप ये ला रहे हो जो अभी माननीय सदस्य बोल रहे हैं, गुलाम नबी जी बोले और आपके रामगोपाल जी बोले, इस देश के गरीब लोग हैं, मेहनतकश लोग, उनने क्या गुनाह किया श्रीमान? उनको तो आप इस साइंस और टेक्नोलॉजी और सारा साइंस की जो एवोल्यूशन और एडवांस हो गया है उसका लाभ देश के लोगों के बारे में कभी नहीं सोचा आपने, जिसको अभी रामगोपाल जी बोल रहे थे। यानी आप अपने देश के लोगों की जो खास करके मेहनतकश लोग हैं उनके बारे में आपकी सोच हजारों साल से जैसी थी आज बदली नहीं है। उनके बारे में कभी नहीं सोचा आपने। एनआरआई के मामले में भी आप बहस होगी तो सिर्फ यूरोप अमेरिका में लोग हैं, ऑस्ट्रेलिया में है, कनाडा में है। आपका जो घाटी के क्या कहते हैं आपके वेस्टर्न एशिया के लोग हैं, मिडिल ईस्ट के लोग हैं, वो कितना आपको विदेशी आपका जो किटी है उसमें कितना पैसा डालते, फॉरेन एक्सचेंज कितना डालते हैं? और वालियार रवि जी बैठे, मगर जो वेस्टर्न एशिया है उससे कितना, क्यों? वो इंसान नहीं है, वो वोटर नहीं हो सकते। मैं कहना चाहता हूं कि वो गरीब लोग हैं, भाषा और बोली नहीं जानते। इस देश की एक फांसी बनी हुई है भाषा। जो दूसरे लोग गए हैं, जो बाहर गए, इस देश में करोड़ों लोगों का खून पसीने की कमाई पर पड़ के गए, विदेश में गए हैं। वो लोग जो हैं वो यहाँ के पैसे पर पैसे इंजीनियर बने, डॉक्टर बने, इस देश को छोड़ के चले गए। और हमको देखिए, हम किनकी तरफ हम देखते हैं, किनके प्रति हमारा प्रेम बढ़ता है, किनके प्रति हमारी, और ये बाजू हो चाहिए बाजू। वालियार रवि जी बैठे हैं, ये वेस्टर्न एशिया है। श्रीमान आपका सूबा तो उसकी संपन्नता में एक बड़ा हाथ तो आपके मिडिल ईस्ट का कभी मैंने नहीं सुना इस देश में। उनकी जिंदगी कैसे अभी तबाही हो रही उसकी, वो सिर्फ उनकी जान बचाने के लिए हम जहाज भेज देते बस। आप जो हैं ये नहीं श्रीमान, ये मतलब आप कैबिनेट में फैसला कर दिए। ये अभी आ रहा है, ये जो अभी रामगोपाल जी कह रहे थे, आप नहीं, ये सबसे ज्यादा घपले का खेल हो रहा है। ये ऐसा मत करिए, इसे रोकिए। आपने बहुत से बदले आए, बहुत से कानून बना लिए बैर पूछे, ऐसा मत करिए। एक सीमा है लोगों की इस मर्यादा में खड़े होकर बोलने की, कहने की। आप इस तरह से करना चाहते हैं, कंक्लूड कीजिए कि जिन लोगों ने इस देश की संपत्ति और संपदा का इस्तेमाल करके जो बाहर गए हैं, और मैं नहीं मानता कि वो इस देश के गरीबों की लड़ाई लड़ने वालों को एक वोट देंगे, वो इनको ही वोट देंगे। ये इसलिए कर रहे हैं उनके लिए कि वोट इनको देंगे वो, और ये कतई बर्दाश्त नहीं किया जाएगा, ये नहीं बर्दाश्त करेंगे। और इसको रोकिए और इसको बतलाइए, बैठ के बात करिए, बैठ के बात करिए, बैठ के बात करिए। हम और भी आपका जो सोच है प्लीज कोशिश करेंगे कि ठीक बात चली जाए।
थैंक यू। प्लीज श्री नवनीत कृष्णन।
Thank you, Deputy Chairman, sir. E-postal ballot system, proxy voting are important issues. Now, the issue is now being discussed because of the public interest litigation which is pending before the Honorable Supreme Court. Now, according to me, wider and deeper consultation is required in this matter. Now, the government is going to accept the report of the committee constituted by the Election Commission of India, and it has also made a statement before the Supreme Court of India stating that they are going to accept the committee report subject to the examination and consideration by the government. I humbly urge the central government, please consult all the political parties, including the AIADMK headed by Honorable Amma, because it is very important issue. So,
Please.
without consultation process, the government cannot take any decision in these matters. So, at the risk of repetition, I urge the central government, please consult AIADMK before taking final decision in this matter. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Sri Rangasayee Ramakrishna.
Chairman, I'm a little aghast today in the type of interactions which were given on this issue. Now, let me give you some figures, sir.
I'm not allowing anybody.
So there are more than 1 crore NRIs and 1.18 crores of PIOs as on 2012. Now, you would have seen the last general elections, the type of enthusiasm which the NRIs have about the political happenings in this country, their eagerness to participate in the political process. You would have seen that. So, I really don't understand why we should be against enfranchising this huge Indian diaspora all over the world. Now, it is very wrong to say that consultations were not held. The Election Commission, at least in my knowledge, held 2 rounds of consultations. Both the consultations, I was present in that meeting. And on 19 July 2014, there are a number of parties which were represented, and Congress was represented by Sri Vayalar Ravi and Ajay Makan Saab. Now, both at that time and today also, there is certain customary sentiments expressed about the need to bring NRIs into the electoral forum. But in reality, the Congress party seems to be against enfranchising NRIs. This is the part, sir, let me conclude. I am not yielding, sir.
Misquote us.
Sir, this is the party. Sir, this is the party.
Sir, India who is sitting here.
Sir, please,
I quoted him the date and time and place.
Sir, let me complete, sir.
Let it complete.
This is the party which allows the Italian Marines to go back to Italy for casting their votes. And yes, Supreme Court is also part of this country, sir.
That was under your government.
It was under you when you were in power.
It was your affidavit.
When you were in power. Sir, when you were in power, sir.
And your undertaking.
Today, there are a number of excuses which are given why this should not be done. There is an institute called IDEA, International Institute for Democracy and Electoral Assistance. Now, this क्या झूठ बोल रहे हैं? कौन झूठ बोल रहे हैं?
You don't reply.
So this institute, sir, this institute has assessed that in 50 countries, sir, this international institute has given a report.
Okay. No,
that
you see,
there are 50 countries.
Mr.
Sir, let me complete,
Ramakrishna,
sir.
you are to put the question. You are not to do the job of the minister.
You put a question.
You are to put the question. Your time is
Sir,
over. It is 4 minutes. It is 4 minutes.
You say whether Congress was...
Tiruchi Siva. Sri Tiruchi Siva. You have taken 4 minutes. Tiruchi Siva, please. No, he has taken 4 minutes. Nobody. See,
Sir,
no. See,
I'm not
the
in.
point.
I only first because.
Arey, Baba, sit down. Baba, sit down.
Kuch nahi.
Sit down.
I'm saying facts.
Ramakrishna, conclude.
Sir.
You cannot, it is not your job. You are asked to put question. First of all, see.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Why do you do the job? No, please. Siva, please.
Sir.
You need not do the job of the minister.
Sir.
That minister will take care of. If you have any doubt, you have to put a question. You have taken 4 minutes. Nobody I allowed 4 minutes. So sit down.
Sir, one down. Today there are NRIs registered voters.
No, not going on record. You can only ask question. Even after 4 minutes you are lecturing. What is this? Mr. Ramakrishna, please. Mr. Ramakrishna, there are rules about calling attention. See, member can ask clarification, that's all. That is why I allowed only 2 or 3 minutes to everybody. And you took 4 minutes and you are not asking clarification. It is not your job, that is minister will take care.
Sir, I feel it is very much feasible. I feel it is very much feasible to have electoral participation by NRIs, and the 2 suggestions which have been given by the election commission
All right,
are worth following.
Now take your seat. Sri Tiruchi Siva.
Thank
Tiruchi
you.
Siva, put your question.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Deputy Chairman, sir. Sir, whenever we go abroad, the NRIs, whoever we meet, always suggest to us that they need a voting right. And to enable them to exercise their franchise, based on the recommendations of the committee appointed by the Supreme Court, the government is taking steps to bring in the e-postal ballot system as well as the proxy voting system. Sir, there are different views on that. Because Mr. Memon is suggesting one thing about the migrant workers, how they should be registered and where they should be registered. Mr. Raja has got different contention. He said that the embassy should have a polling booth. And Professor Gopal Yadav is entirely against the system. So to have express the views of all the political parties, it is the duty of the government to call all the political parties. Before that, sir, I would like to make only 2 points. One is that according to the Minister of Overseas Indian Affairs, the population of NRIs is more than 10 million. But the total number of registered voters as per the 2014 electoral rolls is just 11,846 in India. And out of that, 11,846 are only in Kerala. And 138 in Punjab, 112 in Tamil Nadu, Puducherry 56, Goa 27, Delhi 13, Haryana 12, Daman and Dayu 9, Gujarat 7, Chandigarh and Madhya Pradesh 6 each, West Bengal 4, Chhattisgarh and Himachal Pradesh just 2, and Andhra, Rajasthan, Sikkim only 1 each. So this is how the electoral roll has NRIs registered. When they have to produce their valid passports and register, they have not done so. It's very important. See, we are discussing such an important issue. When there are more than 1 crore NRIs, only 11,000 and odd voters are here. So first we have to register them as voters. Second, sir, my very important point is, the government, as per the recent reports in the newspapers that have appeared, as considering of linking national population register with that of the voting rights, which means election identity card is not the only sole document for eligibility to vote. Sir, the NPR, that is the National Population Register, is a register of usual residents only and does not include the NRIs. If that be the case, how can the government link the NPR with voting rights, at the same time enable the NRIs to vote, sir? So this confusion they have to resolve. This query I pose to the minister, as well as the migrant workers, if they have to vote in their places, where they should be registered, how it should be, what identity they need, all has to be taken note of. So I second the LOP's suggestion that an all-party meeting has to be convened by the government to take their views, and then only it could be decided on such a very, very important issue. At the same time, sir, I would like to emphasize that the NRIs are entitled to exercise their votes. Thank you very much.
Yes, Sri K.N. Balagopal.
Everyone in this house is for... So mic is not coming. Sir, everyone in this house is supporting the NRI, the right of NRIs for getting an vote. So the question is whether we can protect the articles and the laws in the country for adult suffrage. They have to cast their vote free, fair voting should be there. Sir, first I want to say some about the discussion. In this house 3 months back, while the minister was replying on about a bill, I raised this issue and the minister, whether such a case is pending before the Supreme Court about proxy voting and electronic voting. Minister said no. And the Honorable Chairman was there in the chair. He also, believing the minister, he replied that there is no question of proxy voting in the country. Honorable Vice President of the India, he made a ruling from the. So he was the chair.
No, that is expense.
Okay.
Don't refer to
Whether
Vice
the name of
President
the Vice President or
no,
chair,
no.
you can expunge. I was not making a negative statement. I was saying that the issue was raised in the House 3 months back. I asked the question, then the minister said no such discussion was going on. But now a statement is given that such a statement was given by the minister or government to the Supreme Court. So Supreme Court, and now it is saying that two kind of system is discussed. Sir, first thing, a detailed discussion with all the political parties is needed. If someone is giving a private a case before the Supreme Court, a writ, and on the basis of that government is making the entire law to be changed. Even Article 325, 326, everything is to be amended. So if somebody is giving a public interest litigation and based on that the government is taking decision is not proper, a political discussion is needed, all party discussion is needed. Sir, migrant workers voting. In Kerala we have 25 lakh migrant workers working in Kerala and around 50 lakh Keralites are outside. So the right of the migrant workers is very important. And regarding NRI votes, sir, two systems are there, proxy voting is there and electronic voting proposal is there. Proxy voting, now ministry is also saying it is not possible, practical. Bulkily it can be purchased. Sir, in the case of electronic voting is also, sir, electronic voting also through some code people can vote. In Gulf, recently we are getting some calls from the workers. I am giving, because Kerala we have 20% of the voters, if they are coming, they are NRIs. Sir, your constituency, at least 40% of voters will be are in foreign countries, sir, in Tiruvalla and surrounding area, the Honorable Deputy Chairman's constituency. Sir, if the people, now we are getting some calls from some people who are working in Gulf countries. They are with some contractors, labor supply contractors, 35,000 people, 20,000 people working with some contractors. Sir, for coming to India for their marriage, they are not allowing. So some recommendation is needed. Sir, in such a case, if electronic voting right is given to some people, how the votes will be purchased? The contractor will or the employer will purchase all 35,000 or 20,000 votes. Sir, whether it will affect the political democracy of the country, sir. For Kerala, we are very much afraid because 20% of our voters are NRIs, sir. So
No,
this
please.
is not, we are not against the government, but NRI
Please
voting
put
should
the
be, sir.
question
One
and
thing, sir.
conclude.
Sir, one thing more.
Please,
In
time over.
Pondicherry and other areas, there are even French citizens are there. There are voting. There are separate counters and voting will be there. So, for physical voting is very important. Physical voting is very important, whether it is in
Okay, all
other
right.
countries and here. Sir, recently just concluded.
Okay,
West
please,
Bengal election,
time over.
145% votes were polled in Bengal. Now, election commission is considering about
No,
the
nothing,
thing, sir.
not about Bengal. Reference about Bengal is not needed.
So, this is the issue,
No,
sir. So, a
yes.
thorough
Okay,
discussion
time
is needed,
over,
sir.
please. Sri KTS Tulsi.
Sir, I want to submit that there are two elementary principles with regard to for preserving and maintaining the integrity of electoral process. One is the secrecy of the ballot and the second is physical presence of the voter in the voting booth. That's the law and it is the most basic feature of the Constitution is the integrity of the electoral process. And I don't understand how the government, merely on the basis of the report, which is submitted to the Supreme Court, can think about bringing a legislation and treat the Supreme Court as a third chamber of legislature. The laws have to be enacted in these houses. And it can't be that the government will unilaterally say that we accept the report which is submitted to the Supreme Court. And besides, I want to submit, many of the countries
do not opt for electronic voting because it is extremely hazardous. It can be hacked, and a lot of time the real wishes of the voter do not get reflected. Postal ballot is even more dangerous. We have all seen in the Bar Council elections, the postal ballots are literally snatched from the post offices with police in tow, and the lawyers have not been able to vote, express their franchise in their own free will. So these are the questions which they have to be considered. If there are 10 million non-resident Indians according to the statistics, that will mean that there will be 18,000 votes per constituency on the average. And if all of them were to be given a franchise, it could significantly alter the voting pattern and also the result of elections. I want to ask the government that how is it that you are giving greater preference to non-resident Indians and lesser preference to the resident Indians and migratory labor? Is it only because they have more money? Is that the reason for discrimination?
They donate for the election.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Sir Naqvi. Wait. Let me first listen, then sit down, I'll come back to you. Arey, sit down. Sit down. You are not to control. I have to sit down. Arey, sit down. You are not to control. I will control. I know what to do. Sit down. Sir Naqvi. Sit down. Yes. Mr.
Ghulam Nabi
You
Azad
sit down.
साहब ने
Don't force me
हमारे
anything.
नेता विरोधी
You
दल ने
cannot force me like that. Sit down.
NRI
Sit down. Sit down. Sit down.
माननीय नेता विरोधी
Don't
दल
do
ने
like this. You should know the
माननीय
rules.
नेता विरोधी दल ने जो NRI
Please.
वोटिंग के संबंध में जो विषय रखा है, निश्चित तौर से वो जो सदन की भावना है उसके दृष्टि से अगर देखें तो सभी का मत है लगभग कि NRIs को वोटिंग राइट होना चाहिए। जो
No, please.
अच्छा, तो आपका ये कहना है NRIs को अधिकार वोट का नहीं मिलना चाहिए?
No, please.
ओके, ठीक है, मैं गलत समझा।
No, please.
मैं गलत समझा। चलिए स्पष्ट हो गया कि आप NRI की वोटिंग राइट के खिलाफ हैं। चलिए,
No, please allow him to say.
हो गया ना, इट्स ऑल राइट। You are against voting right. That's all.
Why do you worry?
Sir,
that is his opinion. Sit down.
मैं अपनी
That is his
पार्टी
opinion. Sit
में
down.
मैं अपनी
please sit down.
पार्टी के चुनाव की सुधार कमेटी थी, उसका मैं चेयरमैन रहा हूं, और इलेक्शन कमीशन ने NRI की वोटिंग राइट के संबंध में एक ऑल पार्टी मीटिंग बुलाई थी कि NRIs को वोटिंग राइट होना चाहिए कि नहीं होना चाहिए। इस संबंध में सभी राजनीतिक दलों की चुनाव आयोग ने सुप्रीम कोर्ट के दिशा निर्देश के बाद एक बैठक बुलाई। उस बैठक में हम सब मौजूद थे, सभी पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज के रिप्रेजेंटेटिव मौजूद थे। उन सबका लगभग उस समय, अब इस समय क्या मत है मैं नहीं मालूम, उस समय सबका लगभग मत था कि NRIs को, जो कि जिनका कि इस देश में जब भी दुख दर्द आता है सबसे आगे वो खड़े होते हैं, वो रहते वहां है और उनका दिल हिंदुस्तान में रहता है, इसलिए उनको अधिकार NRIs को वोटिंग राइट मिलना चाहिए। इसलिए चुनाव आयोग को उसका मैकेनिज्म तय करना चाहिए। सुप्रीम कोर्ट के दिशा निर्देश के बाद जो लाखों की संख्या में NRI है, उनके मताधिकार का जो भी व्यवस्था होती है उसको चुनाव आयोग को, सरकार को मिलकर के जल्द से जल्द करना चाहिए। ये हमारी पार्टी का मत है।
Okay. Now please. No, please. No, please. Now listen, honorable members. Sit down. Now see, my dilemma I will tell you and we will decide. I have no problem. First, please. Now that's what I am saying. My dilemma I will tell you, then we will decide. The House is supreme. You can decide anything, I have no problem. See, number one is that the direction is that we have 1 hour only for calling it. Number two, there is strict direction from chairman, which has already been, I said it here, and earlier there was bulletin also, that after commencement of the discussion, no name will be received. And we have decided with your consent, to implement it also. Now let me complete. Let me complete. No, this is already said. I said it, no, listen, last week. No, let me complete. Last week, when the next week's business was read here, I announced in the House that from next week onwards, that means from yesterday onwards, we are going to implement this strictly, that once the discussion is commenced, no name will be taken. That has been, that has been announced. That is now the accepted norm. Honorable Chairman wants to implement it. Otherwise, Chair cannot manage the time. That is why it was now. But however, now I am coming to the point. Here I had received like that, whatever names so far received was received before the discussions, and those are over. Now those who raise the hand, see, I understand the important subject. You are see, Misra is raising, or Sain Dulwai, Nayak, no, please, yes, while, okay, now sit down, but the point is, see, so, what is the way out? The way out is, I see only one way out. Those who have raised the hand, I can call on one condition. They will ask only one question. They will not take more time. In any case, more than 2 minutes. Now listen, second point, this will never be quoted as a precedent in calling attention. Let me say. I am standing. So this will not be quoted as a precedent. Number 3, we will have to take some extra time from the after 3 p.m. To that extent, we may have to sit late also. These are the 3 things I am saying. On this condition, I am calling, giving 2 minutes each for the 4 or 5 names who are, no new name now. I know all those who told me earlier, no question. All those who asked me earlier, I know there are 4 or 5, no new name. Since Satish Misra, 2 minutes, 2 minutes.
Honorable
2 minutes.
Honorable Deputy Chairman, sir, before I speak on this topic, I'll take 1 minute on what you have just now suggested, with your permission. Rules are framed so that the functioning of the House may be done in a proper manner. And for that you are saying that this is necessary. But when certain issues are raised, at least the political parties, one party member should be allowed to speak even if name has been given in advance or not. Otherwise 24 hours notice may be given to us that we may give a name in advance. But otherwise,
that is why this exemption came.
At least political
That is why this exemption came.
So that is
I
what
have kept
saying.
it in mind.
That's why I said it. Considered. Otherwise,
that's what I am. Yes, same thing I am doing.
I am grateful.
It is your suggestion that in my mind.
I am grateful. Now on the subject concerned, मैं माननीय मंत्री जी से ये खास तौर से पूछना चाहूँगा, एक प्रश्न करना चाहूँगा कि आप क्या ये रूल जो एक्ट अमेंड कर रहे हैं, सेक्शन 60 को अमेंड करना चाहते हैं, इसका कारण क्या सुप्रीम कोर्ट का डायरेक्शन है? क्योंकि माननीय सर्वोच्च न्यायालय या उच्च न्यायालय कोई आदेश इस पार्लियामेंट को नहीं दे सकता कि आप एक लेजिस्लेशन करिए और इसमें भी कोई आदेश इस तरह का नहीं दिया गया है. अगर हम लोग इस तरह की बात इसमें बार-बार हमने ये आपका पढ़ा, इसमें सुप्रीम कोर्ट का जिक्र किया गया है, दैट इज नॉट प्रॉपर इन माय व्यू, बिकॉज सुप्रीम कोर्ट हैज नॉट डायरेक्टेड द पार्लियामेंट or the government to make an amendment in the act. They have asked the Election Commission on the PIL to give a report to them, and that report has been submitted, and then they have asked you to take a decision within 8 weeks. Now decision has to be taken. You could have taken a decision that this is an important matter where we are going to make amendment in the act. Therefore, all parties and leaders will be called and we will consider this, and after consideration, going into the depth of the matter, we will report back. So far as the Election Commission is concerned, we had already responded to the Election Commission that this is not correct, and Article 324 does not permit this, and we have said that if this criteria is brought, this will not be correct. So you may clarify, is it on the mandate of the Supreme Court, or the government wishes to do it only because the government wants and thinks that the NRIs all over the world who are presently where the Honorable Prime Minister has visited various countries and he has spoken there in these countries, and those NRIs have supported him, and therefore you are bringing this amendment. Or if that is not the background, then you should take into consideration those persons who are migrants in this country. About 1 crore people from Uttar Pradesh alone are migrants, and they have gone to different states in the country, and they don't have the voting rights in the manner which you have said. There will be no secrecy when you are saying e-ballot through postal. It is a different thing, but unless you provide certain methods where they can, the secrecy, the sanctity of the provisions of the act, and for election which is mandatory, that it has to be in a manner that it is not known to others.
Okay,
you
please.
cannot go any. This provision is something
Please.
where you are making it vulnerable, making it open.
No, please.
Those persons will be voting not on their own conscience, but on the conscience of somebody else, and that will not be the
Okay,
correct
please.
election, and that will be against that.
Now, Sri Vayalar Ravi. Sri Vayalar Ravi.
Sir, I fully endorse and support what Sri Ghulam Nabi has said. But this issue has been debated in the past also. But the last government, when Manmohan Singh was the Prime Minister, I was the Minister in charge of the overseas Indians, we amended the law and made it enroll the name of the overseas Indians. Today, almost all the overseas Indians who want to be enroll their names, even though they are in Dubai or whatever, Qatar, anywhere, their names are in the voters list. But the question today is how they can vote. But the rule, Election Commission rule is that they have to come back to India and vote. It's physically impossible. There are many, majority of them was very poor. So, sir, before the question before us, this is Mr. Ghulam Nabi raised the issue also. How we give an opportunity for them to vote? This is a matter which is to be considered by this House. And my suggestion is, sir, whether we can think, honorable members also I request to think, whether with the consent of the concerned countries abroad, if they agree, whether we can make a system, any kind of a system which they can vote to the country they live. They will not allow. The Gulf countries are very sensitive on this matter, I know that. But think of that. How can we help the overseas Indians to cast their votes which are already enrolled? This is the only thing which I have to suggest, sir.
Thank you very much. Sri Sanjay Rao. Okay, Anil. Okay, yeah.
Thank you, Deputy Chairman, sir. Sir, as far as voting by non-resident Indians in the future elections in the country is concerned, I have few suggestions to make. 1 or 2 suggestions are very vital. So there is no doubt that NRIs have been playing a very merited role in the well-being of our country. And this has often been seen. And since they belong to this soil, they have a wish, they need to vote in our country. And accordingly, there should be some mechanism which need to be developed where properly they can come and vote. NRIs, though showing keen interest to vote in our country, instead of adopting the ways of e-postal ballot system or proxy voting, they should be encouraged to come to our country and vote physically, because both these systems, they do have glaring deficiencies, and if adopted, would lead to some unfair practices. And I think most of the members have expressed them. But that does not mean that they should be deprived of voting or their enfranchising right. I think another problem is regarding migrant workers within the country. Lakhs and lakhs of migrant workers who, in search of their livelihood, they depart from their original residences, original places to different districts to fetch for themselves, to fend for themselves in search of livelihood. And they are deprived, these poor people are deprived of their voting right. Proper arrangements by the government is the need of the hour, that they should be brought, because the whatever principles which are there in the election law and election commission, what seeks out of these elections, that democracy would be in a proper spirit, will be exercised in the country like democracy in India, when more and more people vote. So while giving weightage or while thinking of developing a mechanism for the NRIs, migrant workers voting is of essence. A proper working holistic approach should be there from the government, that should be evolved. And at the same time, that all the party broad consensus on this issue be made by calling for all party consultation, and that will help resolve these issues.
Chandra Naik.
3-4 years, at least
3-4 times I have raised the issue that seafarers who are working on the boats and in the Gulf countries should not be deprived of the right which Election Commission deprived. Although all of them were residing in their respective houses. When a seafarer is, then a house is not a boat. Or a Gulf countries, the barracks are not the homes. At the names were deprived by the Election Commission. And today the result is that when there are 3 lakhs Goans working abroad, then only 27 names are on record of the electoral roll. Who is responsible for this? That is because the Election Commission, under guise of Article 324, which does not give any power to the Election Commission to legislate, has issued instructions to delete the names of thousands of Indians from the respective houses. As a result, today, instructions are issued, let Election Commission first tell the House, tell the Parliament that the instructions given by them in the form of legislation were wrong and they should not have done it. That them admit for this, then come before the Parliament. Supreme Court has got no right to indirectly legislate on the issues which belongs to realm of Parliament. See, in time and again, Supreme Court has interfered in the guise of Article 324, justified the actions of Election Commission and created laws which Parliament alone has got right. How is that they are indirectly coming through Election Commission? Election Commission and Supreme Court, it appears these 2 constitutional bodies are enacting this legislation, keeping Parliament out. This should not be allowed.
Okay, thank you, Sri Naresh Gudra.
Thank you, sir. Sir, my party believes that anybody who holds an Indian passport must have a right to vote, whether he is living in this country or he is living abroad. Sir, some members have suggested that these NRIs got educated here, used India, and are not concerned about the country anymore. Totally disagree with that. I know that lakhs of Punjabis have gone abroad as immigrants, laborers, and they have toiled hard. And every time we have seen, whenever the country is in any difficulty, they come to the country's aid. Our current account deficit is financed by them. We have seen how they have helped almost every village in Punjab. So I believe that they must have the right to vote. Yes, the issue is the methodology. And as Mr. Tulsi pointed out, we have to ensure the secrecy and we have to ensure that the methodology is in place. So my question is, would the government consider ensuring that at the time of voting, either these NRIs vote in the embassies or consulates, or separate offices are opened at that time so that their votes could be done in secrecy and a proper methodology is followed.
Sri Hussain
Thank you,
Dalwai.
sir.
Put only one question.
उपसभापति महोदय, मैं आपका आभारी हूँ। ये NRI का सवाल हल करने के पहले मेरे ख्याल से माइग्रेंट लोगों का सवाल हल होना बहुत जरूरी है, क्योंकि जब तक वो माइग्रेंट रहते हैं उनको रेशन का कार्ड भी मिलता नहीं, बड़ी मुश्किल में उनको रहना पड़ता है। और आजकल ऐसा है कि जहां डेवलपमेंट होती है वहां लोग माइग्रेट होते हैं, वो उनकी गलती नहीं। तो ये जल्दी से जल्दी इसके बारे में निर्णय होना बहुत जरूरी है। दूसरी बात ऐसी है कि जहां लड़का यहाँ का भारत का है और लड़की दूसरे देश की है, सार्क देश की कौन सी भी देश की है, तो उसको वो लड़की को ये PIO भी देने के लिए सरकार तैयार नहीं है। अभी ये तो बिल्कुल गलत बात है। मेरे 2 भांजे ऐसे हैं कि एक की औरत यहाँ बांग्लादेशी है और दूसरे की पाकिस्तानी है, दोनों का अमेरिका में ये शादी हो गई और यहाँ आने के बाद वो लड़की यहाँ आ नहीं सकती। ये क्या बात है? ये तो बिल्कुल गलत बात है। स्टालिन के जमाने में उन्होंने इस तरह के ये फैमिली डिस्टर्ब करने के लिए इस तरह के लॉस किए थे, वैसे हमारी गवर्नमेंट चल रही है। ये बिल्कुल गलत बात है। जहां तक सार्क कंट्रीज हैं वहां ये होना बहुत जरूरी है। सार्क कंट्रीज के बारे में तो थोड़ा सा सहानुभूति लेके इनके बारे में सवाल मिटना चाहिए। और एनआरए को देते वक्त भी कौन से एनआरए, कहां से आए हुए हैं, वो क्या उनका इस देश में क्या कुछ संबंध है क्या नहीं क्या, वो भी देखना बहुत जरूरी है। क्योंकि अरब देश में बड़े पैमाने पर हमारे लोग जाते हैं, उनको भी ये हक नहीं मिलता, ये भी हम लोगों ने सोचना बहुत जरूरी है। धन्यवाद।
श्री अनिल माधव।
बहुत संक्षिप्त में उपसभापति मैं 2-3 बातें कहना चाहता हूँ।
ओनली 1 मिनट।
एक तो ओनली 1 मिनट। एक तो मेरा निवेदन है सभी से कि कृपया मतदाता के मत देने पर शंका नहीं करना चाहिए। डेमोक्रेसी में उसको अधिकार है कि वो किसे वोट दे, इसलिए मुझे लगता है कि वो कहीं वोट देगा, इसके कारण उसे वोट देने देना चाहिए कि नहीं देने देना चाहिए, क्योंकि हम विश्व की सबसे बड़ी डेमोक्रेसी के लोग हैं। हमसे अमेरिका सीखता, हमसे डेमोक्रेसी दुनिया सीखती है। इसलिए हमारे देश में पिछले 50-60 सालों में अच्छे से चुनाव हुए, इसके अंदर ज्यादा से ज्यादा वोट दे सकें। वायार रवि जी से जो कह रहे थे और पूर्व प्रधानमंत्री जी ने भी जिस उद्देश्य से उसका विस्तार किया था, उस बात पर विचार करने की जरूरत है कि सारे एनआरआई, पीआईओ और जितने माइग्रेंट वर्कर है, अभी कह रहे थे कि एक राज्य में 1 करोड़ है, अगर सब मिला लेंगे तो 10 करोड़ हमारे पास माइग्रेंट वर्कर है। हमें ये सुनिश्चित करना चाहिए कि ये तीनों कैटेगरी कैसे वोट डाल सकती है, और अगर उसको लेकर प्रक्रिया के संबंध में कोई विचार है तो अगर हम मंगलयान बना करके दुनिया में जा सकते हैं तो सफलतापूर्वक इनको से भी वोट डलवा सकते हैं। हम ऐसी त्रुटि शून्य व्यवस्था नहीं बना पाएंगे, इस डर से हम कह रहे हैं कि नहीं वोट मत डालने दो। मेरा यह कहना है कि वो बन सकती है। इन तीनों बातों पर विचार करना चाहिए और इस प्रकार की डेमोक्रेटिक चर्चा पर माध्यम संचार माध्यमों का रहे, पूरी दुनिया को यह मालूम होना चाहिए कि भारत की संसद क्या बात कर रही है।
डॉक्टर केशवराव
सर,
डॉक्टर केशवराव, प्लीज डॉक्टर केशवराव, put your question. Put your question. No, put your question. Yes, Dr. Keshav, put your question.
Sir, I have only one question to ask. Why do you want at all for a non-resident Indian discriminating my own migrant citizen? I have seen the 4 pages note that you had given in reply to coalition motion. I am not per se not talking about democracy. Democracy is a great subject to discuss. Democracy is not only democratic participation but participative development. A man who has not spent his toil, who has not given his sweat, you want him to be equated with that of a migrated labor who is also equally to be taken care by you.
Okay.
3, I totally agree with Mr. Tulsi and Mr. Naik and Mr. Misra. It is beset with lot of legal complications. Do not get into haste in handling a very serious issue like this when you are trying to talk about in the name of democracy.
Okay.
All that I am saying is it requires, let not Supreme Court dictate to you.
Okay.
Supreme Court has never dictated. Let this House take the issue, we'll sort it and let us discuss here.
Sri Farida, Vaishnav Farida, put only one question, 1 minute. 1 minute.
This is a very important issue for our country. And when we are thinking about the NRIs, we must give thought to the number of migrant laborers. Those who are working, their number is much more than the Indians, NRIs living in Europe and America. Their case must be first taken into consideration. Second thing is the voters list, which is a basis for to cast a vote. The voters list of NRIs, the migrant laborers, first must be prepared. How many Indians were living, their details, where they belong, whether which state and how long they are living there, what professions are doing. We must be very care, and accordingly election commission should find out a methodology
to put your
prepare that list. Then they will be allowed to
just 1 minute
their
to the
vote
question.
in our election.
Okay, Sri Taban.
So, sir, thank you, Deputy Chairman, sir. I have only one question and another suggestion. I think the NRI voting right is welcome, but priority should get the migrant workers because they are feeding our country. The remittances from
the migrant workers abroad is quite substantive, which adds to our Indian economic strength. I don't know why you are running after NRI without prioritizing on migrant workers, number one. And number two, all should get voting right, but the system's integrity must be put in proper protection. So voting must be physical voting. No other system can protect the integrity of the entire process, whether physically voting here or physically voting at their place where Indian embassy can make appropriate arrangement to ensure their voting. I think no other system can ensure the integrity of the voting process unless that is done.
Okay, Srimati
But
Rajani
again,
Patil.
migrant workers must get a priority.
Srimati Rajani Patil, put only question 1 minute.
यस सर सर ओनली तीन मुद्दों के ऊपर मैं आपका ध्यान आकर्षण करना चाहती हूँ. एक तो जो एनआरआई के वोटिंग के लिए मुद्दा हमारे नेता गुलाम नबी आजाद साहब ने उठाया, उसके लिए बिल्कुल उन्होंने जो कहा उसका हम समर्थन करते हैं. दूसरा मुद्दा ये यहाँ पे मैं उठाना चाहती हूँ कि जो संजय राउत जी के साथी शिवसेना के जिन्होंने यहाँ पे मुद्दा उठाया कि वोट देना, उनको एनआरआई के वोट की ज्यादा जिम्मेदारी लगती है, लेकिन हमारे देश के जो मुस्लिम भाई हैं उनको वोट देने के अधिक पक्ष में वो नहीं है. उसके हमें बहुत गलत लगता है ये इनका व्यू. और तीसरी बात सर ये है कि मेरे खुद मैं जो डिस्ट्रिक्ट से आती हूँ, बीट डिस्ट्रिक्ट से, वो माइग्रेंट डिस्ट्रिक्ट है. हर साल 3 लाख लोग गन्ना तोड़ने के काम के लिए तमिलनाडु में जाते हैं, गोवा में जाता है, कर्नाटक में जाता है, और वो 3 लाख लोगों को वोटिंग करने के लिए नहीं मिलता. हम जब एनआरआई के वोटिंग की बात करते हैं तो हमारे देश की जो लोग हैं, जो लेबर्स हैं, उनके वोटिंग के लिए भी अपने आग्रह करना चाहिए. ये मेरा कहना है. धन्यवाद.
Shri Mungekar, only one question.
Only
and then
one.
after that, Minister.
Sir, I want to share only 2 brief observations in 1 minute. One, nothing against NRI as such, but we can't forget the fact that in 1991, when foreign exchange crisis was there, one most important reason was all non-resident Indians had withdrawn the last dollar from the bank that they are deposited in the Indian commercial banks. And the second observation is, there is written evidences that certain organizations in India are getting millions of dollars of help from abroad, particularly from America and the European Union. In fact, that is extremely important and juxtaposed to the present intention of the government for bringing non-resident giving the voting right. Thank you very much.
Honorable Minister.
Very good.
Honorable Deputy Chairman, 2 main issues that has been raised by almost all the members is Misra, Honorable Tulsi and others.
What is next?
Whether this proposal is considered because the court has issued direction to the Election Commission. Certainly it is not true. We have taken the feedback from the Election Commission, and this matter was pending right from the day when Honorable Ravi was the minister in the earlier government. And practically every person of Indian origin who are working somewhere outside the country, they all feel that we should be a part and parcel of Indian democracy. For that reason, the Election Commission, after due consultation with all the parties, I would like to mention here, all party leaders have been called by the committee formed by the Election Commission, and views have been taken by them. Then only they gave a report. I got a report. I don't want to go in detail with regard to the report and all that. On the basis of that report, government thought that it is fit and it is fair enough to give voting rights to the NRIs. On that basis we are going. Certainly, Mr. Ji, it is not as per the direction of the Supreme Court, or certainly we know Parliament is supreme, so we are here to make a legislation, not as per the direction of the Supreme Court. So I want to put an end for that argument that it is not as per the direction of the Supreme Court. That is one. Second thing is, all concerns are with the migrant laborers inside India. I do consider our party is also bent upon to have one legislation to see that all the migrant Indians, they should get voting right. I assure this House that certainly I will request the Election Commission to hold a all-party meeting. Wait, sir, wait. Please wait. Please hear me. Please hear me. Please hear me. Shall I complete? Shall I complete first? I will ask the election commission to get all the feedback and come to the government, so that government can invite all the political parties to see that legislation will be brought as far as the migrant laborers who are traveling across India is concerned. These are the two major issues that has been highlighted by everybody. Right from our Honorable LOP, everybody says that voting rights should be given to NRIs. Secrecy and secrecy and methodology, these are the two issues that need to be taken care of. Of course, in the committee, they have given certain reports how the secrecy has to be maintained. Of course, almost all the proxy voting, it is not acceptable by everybody, and proxy voting is not, certainly it will not be implemented according to the committee report itself. But postal ballots and e-postal ballot, the modalities are being worked out by the election commission to see that how the secrecy should be maintained and how, what are the methodologies that need to be adopted as far as giving voting rights to the NRIs are concerned. So these are the main issues. So totally, voting right to NRIs will certainly, it will give a major push to the Indian democracy across the world. I hope that my LOPs also will agree as far as the methodology and secrecy are concerned. Certainly we are working on it.
Secrecy and
we will go
methodology.
ahead with this. So
Secrecy and methodology. Now, no more discussion. Warehousing Corporation Amendment Bill 2005. Sri Ram Vilas Paswan. Ram Vilas Paswan.
उपसभापति महोदय, मैं प्रस्ताव करता हूं कि भंडागारण निगम अधिनियम 1962 का और संशोधन करने वाले विधेयक पर लोकसभा द्वारा पारित रूप में विचार किया जाए।
सिंगल क्वेश्चन has been replied on calling attention. जो क्वेरी की थी हमने कि कैसे वोट डलवाएंगे, बूथ बनवाएं, किसी का जवाब नहीं दिया गया।
Yes, see, important points you are
Chair is in hurry to proceed.
I am not hurried. Minister stop, then I proceeded. See, I cannot ask the minister to reply in this way or that way. But he replied to the important points.
But the chair can direct the minister to reply to answer all the questions.
Honorable Deputy Chairman. Honorable Deputy Chairman,
please. Yeah.
No, that was the request of all the members. So when the government concedes that, yes, your request is accepted. Why more?
The main point, yes, that is the point. That the main request was the government should convene the meeting of all parties, which he has considered. So all your points can be said there. And I think that is very generous of government to accept that. That is.
He understood him. He has divided the two. He has said insofar as the voting rights to NRIs are concerned, the meeting has already been held with election commission. And insofar as the voting rights for the migrants is concerned, the government will hold meeting. What I would suggest that we would like the government to consult the political parties on both the issues. On
That
both
is what
the
he
issues.
said.
Together.
That is what he said.
No, he didn't say. He divided the two. He had divided the two.
See, the concerns of the House
Deputy
is...
Chairman, sir, the issues as rightly put by my Honorable LOP, issues are divided into two. One is with regard to migrant voters inside India, and with regard to the constitutional authority of the parliament. These are the one side issues. Another issue is with regard to the secrecy and methodology of the voting of NRIs. I said that as far as migrant voters are concerned, certainly the government needs to have a wider consultation. All political parties should be taken into confidence and their views to be taken. And 1 minute, sir, please. Apart from that, even as far as methodology and secrecy matters are concerned, there also we will take the views of the
That's what he
parties.
said. Yes. That is very clear now, no. Suraj ji, now no more, that is.
आप देना ठीक नहीं, बात ठीक करिए कि जो NRI हैं और जो माइग्रेट वर्कर हैं, ऑल पार्टी
He will call the meetings of all parties.
एक कोई ज्यादा नहीं है, सब पार्टियों की बैठक बुला ले, तब इस पर फैसला करें, ये सीधा सवाल है, ये बात है।
बहुत स्पष्ट तरीके से माननीय मंत्री जी ने कहा है कि इस संबंध में सभी राजनीतिक दलों के साथ बैठक होगी और बैठक होने के बाद जो राजनीतिक दलों का सुझाव होगा उसके बाद सरकार आगे बढ़ेगी।
वही बोला, 2 नंबर है।